Hey YouTube, what's going on, guys? This is Ryan, Captain Tile. I I have over 20 years experience in installing tile, so I pretty much know what I'm talking about when it comes to tile. I like to do things by the book. I have a video on laying out a floor for a 45-degree angle, but I drew up a little example here of say you were doing a bathroom and you want to figure out what kind of cement backerboard you want to use. So I guess we'll start from the beginning here, huh? All right, first you want to find the square footage of the areas where you're going to be laying the tile, okay? You can do it one of a few ways. You can measure the whole entire room first, which is like before. For same thing, if you want to know for tile, you do the length times the width, and that'll give you the square footage of the whole entire room. So if it's 10 foot this way times 8 foot, the whole entire square footage as of right now is 80 square feet. Okay, so we have 80 square feet. Now we're going to have to deduct some from that where you're not going to be putting backerboard. For instance, a standard tub is usually about 30 inches, but I just made it 2 foot, and they're always 5 foot. So this tub is 2 foot by 5 foot. So this 10 square foot area where the tub is at does not need any backerboard. So we're going to subtract that 10 from the 80. Okay. Now we're down to 70 square foot. All right. And let's see what else here. Yes, the tile is going to wrap into the closet. This is the door going into the bathroom. Swings to the left. The vanity. Okay. There's so many variables. I don't know where to start. Before you even get the materials, well, I mean, unless you have a garage to store it in, what you want to do is you want to get the bathroom ready and assess it. So you're going to want to pull the toilet. If you don't know how, I can eventually do a video on that. But you're going to want to pull the toilet. A lot of people like to just, if you have another shower, put a towel or cardboard down in your tub so you can keep it close by, and put the toilet in the tub, or at least keep it close by to the area. All right, now the vanity. Definitely disconnect the vanity and take it out into another room. I've seen, God knows, countless tile jobs where these guys tile around the vanity. And can you do it? Yeah, but if you're going to go as far as tiling the floor, let's do it right, because who knows if 5 years down the road, something leaks in the vanity, or you want to replace it, or you sell your house and the homeowners want to replace it, and when you pull it out, you're left with a giant hole here that's not matching up with the tile floor. So definitely recommend taking that out. So you pulled the toilet, you pulled the vanity, okay? The closet would have some sort of a door there. Pop the door off its hinges there. Pop the entrance door hinges off and store them out somewhere in the hallway or another bedroom. Put a drop cloth down to protect the carpet and lean it up against the wall. Okay, so now you have your bathroom dissected. You have everything pulled out. Now it depends on what type of floor you have down that you're going to demo. A lot of people will tell you, and it even says it online, and it makes me sick, that you can install tile over vinyl. Could you? Sure. Is it right? In my mind, no. I like to do things by the book, especially if it's cushioned vinyl. The most important thing in tile is the setting materials and the underlayment. If anything has the slightest sort of movement, you're going to have problems in the future with pop tiles and cracked grout and everything like that. So I recommend, no matter what the floor is, ripping it up right down to the bare plywood. If you have a vinyl floor, most likely it's going to be the vinyl, and then there's going to be a quarter-inch sheet of Lawan, which is a very, very thin plywood. And most guys either nail it down with a gazillion nails or a gazillion staples. Is it a pain in the butt? Yes, but you're preventing problems happening in the future. Because what happens is, even if you thin set your Backerboard over the vinyl, okay, and then your tile goes on top of that, yes, you still screw the Backerboard down, but you have no idea if there's any voids between the plywood, the subfloor plywood, and the quarter-inch plywood they put the vinyl on. You have no idea if there's going to be movement. So get it down to the bare bones, not to the floor joists, but to your wood subfloor. And if you have an old school sort of house where it's mosaic floor, it's most likely installed on a wet bed, a mud floor. That's a whole nother story, because then you got to wind up building the floor up or pour another mud floor. So this is if you have a vinyl floor or regular old 12 by 12, like generic builder grade tiles. So rip everything up, you get it down to the plywood, okay? Now, there's different types of Backerboards you can use out there. There's Wonderboard, Rock, Hardy Backer, Schluter Dietra. They're always coming out with new systems, okay? I'm a very big fan of Hardy Backer. It's mold and moisture repellent. When I had my business, I used to carry a little sample of Backerboard encased in a thing of water, and just people were amazed by it. It's lighter than the other boards. It is a mess to cut, but I love it. You just can't go wrong with it. But before you put the Backerboard down, you want to stick a level around a 4-foot level, the longest level you got. Try to find if there's any sort of dips in the floor, or even if the floor slants, because if the floor slants, then you're going down the road of getting some self-leveler to level it out so you have a nice flat floor. Okay? Walk around, look for any creaks, movement. A lot of times that can just be solved by putting a few extra screws or framing nails through the plywood down to the floor joists. Now, if you have access to see what the floor joists are, okay, because I wrote right here, your floor joists have to be at least 16 inches apart and a minimum of a 5/8 inch substrate, which is basically 5/8 plywood, okay? If you have that, then you can install, if you want to, 1/4 inch Hardy Backer down, okay? Now, I do a lot of my floors with 1/4 inch, and a lot of things depend on that too, okay? It depends when you pull your toilet off, where the flange is set at. If you use a 1/2 inch Hardy Backer plus the tile, then you might have brought the floor too high, and then you got to work on raising up the toilet flange, you know? So, and out here in the door, it depends what type of floor you're transitioning to. You don't want to basically have a step, you know, going down or up to another floor. So I recommend a lot 1/4 inch Hardy Backer if your requirements meet it, okay? So we got the square footage. We know we have 70 square foot. All Hardy Backer cement board sheets, okay, unless they're custom ordered, and you won't, because that's for like commercial jobs, come in 3 foot by 5 foot, okay? Three by 5. It's not too bad. It's not like plywood that comes in 4 by 8. All right, so 3 foot by 5 foot. So what I like to do is I basically say 3 times 5. I say one sheet of Backerboard is like 15 square foot. Okay. And what I do is I'll just divide, add 15 up into 70, right? Got 15, 30, 45, 60, 75. That may be cutting it close. It can't hurt to grab one extra. So I would purchase, if I was doing this, 6 sheets of 1/4 inch HardieBacker. Okay? Now, HardieBacker is a very great product. It has a lifetime guarantee if it's installed properly. And I read the manual. They consider it installed properly if it is set with a latex modified thin set, okay? And it is fastened to the wooden subfloor, the plywood that you're putting it on top of, with at least 1.25 inch corrosive resistant screws. And believe it or not, it says, or roofing nails. Now, a lot of guys are not a big fan of that, but it says it in the manual that you can do it. So if you had a job where you had like 80 sheets, you're doing a house, get like a roofing gun with a compressor, but you got to make sure they're corrosive resistant fasteners, whatever you're using. Okay? So remember that. Couple rules about setting HardieBacker, okay? You can never have, you can't have 4 corners meet from 4 different sheets, okay? You can't, or they won't warranty their product. So you never have 4 corners meet is a big no-no. All right. Let's see, for example, here, how I would do this. All right, the tub is 2 foot, which means we got, and it's 8 foot. So this is 6 foot in here, okay? You could if you wanted to, because the sheets are 3 by 5, right? That's 10 foot. You could put a whole row straight down here if you wanted to, like that, going right into the door. Okay. Oh, by the way, before you put the Backerboard down, if you have any baseboard trim up, I'm a big fan of popping it off and then putting it back on once the floor is done. So that's up to you, though. So you basically put 2 sheets. Remember, the vanity's not there. Okay. What I would do is, because the sheets are 3 by 5, I would measure 3 foot off of this wall, 3 foot off of this wall, strike a chalk line, and go by that chalk line, okay? And what I do is I would just lay 1 sheet in first, dry, cut out the hole for the toilet flange, and then make sure it fits. And once it fits, I would trace around the board. Obviously, I would keep it in that line and trace where it would end this way. And then I would stand the board up, and then I would just thin set that area with at least a 1/4 inch notched trowel, okay? When it comes to thin set, by the way, you really want to go, it's worth paying the extra few dollars for the quality thin set from your local tile dealer. I'm not knocking any major corporation chain home improvement stores, but when it comes to stores who specifically deal with tile, quality setting materials is what counts. I can't stress that enough. So, you want to, over your floor, you checked it, you're ready to set it, you dry fitted this sheet, okay? You mix your thin set up with water, you got your 1/4 inch notch trowel, you spread thin set, cover the area 100%. Okay? Then you drop your sheet in there and make sure you're lined up on your chalk line here and where you traced around it with a marker or a pen or whatever there. All right? And then you want to walk all over it, flatten it out, get your weight on it. Okay? And if you use the 1/4 inch, another good thing about the 1/4 inch Hardy Backer is it has a pattern already on the sheet to that shows you where to nail or screw down the board. Now, I think one board, it takes a lot of nails. I think it's every 6 inches, right? So it's 3, 1, 2, 3. It's like 6. It's like almost 60 screws per sheet, and they're an inch in from the edges. So I would throw my 2 sheets there. Okay. Then let's see here. I would, so 6 foot, that means you got 2 foot left here, right? I would probably, okay. It's kind of like doing a puzzle. You can't really go wrong. Just make sure you don't have 4 corners meet, you know? You see where this, like where the end of the tub is? Just pretend that line goes straight across. There's an invisible line there, okay? So you know you're offset from your corner, probably about a foot. Okay, so it's probably a 4 foot long piece by 2 foot wide. I would put a piece there. So there's 1, there's 2, right? And we did this one here. This is 3, which is right here. Okay. So let's see here. That's 5. Or you could start with you could use 2 foot by 5 foot, but just start with a half a sheet, for instance. You know, make it go right in there if you want. So it'd be like 2 foot by 2.5 feet. Then you can do 2 foot again by 5 foot. Yeah, and make it come down like here. And make that one. Okay, and then you can make this one into the closet, and you fill this little area in here. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Looks like we use 6. And there's a threshold you have to work on in the door there. There's so many variables. I'm just trying to help you out by giving you some ideas. But I like Hardy Backer. It's a great product. I've never had a problem with it. Some people cut it. You can buy a skill saw or a circular saw. It's called a Hardy blade, made to cut Hardy Backerboard, but you were talking about very dusty. But actually, thankfully for the 1/4 inch, you can actually score it. They have a score, but you can use a razor blade. Make sure you have a long straight edge. You go over it a couple times with a utility knife with a new razor blade, and you can kind of snap it and wiggle it, and it'll, you know, the piece that you need will break off. So that's pretty much it. So the whole point of the thin set is, right, if you thin set the underlayment down after you inspected your plywood floor for dips and movement, I'm telling you, let it set up overnight. When you set foot on that tomorrow morning or the next morning, it feels like someone poured a concrete floor there. It is no joke. All of these seams where the sheets meet one another, okay? Some guys like to butt the sheets up tight. Some guys put like a nail, like a little framing nail between it. I butt mine up tight, or just, you know, just don't have a huge gap. But wherever your seams are at, you have to use, again, for them to warranty their product, it's called alkaline resistant tape. It's a mesh tape, okay? Um, you can actually get a big roll drywall tape, which is a lot cheaper than the Hardy Backer tape. It's the same thing, the fiber mesh tape, okay? So you cover tape over all these seams and joints and everything, okay? And then you want to mix up some more thin set, and you can use like a 4 or 6 inch spackle knife and give it a coat of thin set over all the seams. And what that does is that prevents the boards from, lifting from one another and shifting. It really, really needs to be done. So you thin set the boards down, you tape the seams, you thin set the seams, you let it set, and you're ready to lay out the tile the next day and set that. So that's pretty much it for as far as installing Backerboard. I know there's more. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Can you install tiles directly over plywood? No, you can't. Guys will tell you yes, but what happens is your latex modified thin set plywood is dry, absorbs all the moisture out of it, and it dries prematurely, and you don't get a good bond. So you definitely, I know a lot of contractors, they'll come in and do someone's, my hands are shaking, I'm sorry. They'll do someone's bathroom, and they'll just throw the sheets down and nail them right to the plywood or over the vinyl. And I bet my life on it, within a year or two, you're going to have cracked grout and tiles and problems out the wazoo. So I'm telling you, just do it right. With tile, it may look beautiful on top, but it's not going to stay beautiful if they didn't pay attention to what's underneath. It's what's inside that counts, people. So thanks again for listening. Any questions, please feel free to let me know. I hope this really helped you guys out. All right, God bless you and have a great week this week, and thanks for checking me out. Bye-bye now.